The world of One Piece is approaching a moment where history, long buried beneath centuries of lies, is beginning to breathe again. What was once whispered only in forbidden records now echoes across the seas, carried by thunder, ice, and the fall of kings. A single chapter does not merely continue the story, it redraws the map of destiny. The shadows of the void centuries stretch into the present, ancient alliances awaken, and the balance of power trembles as secrets older than the world government itself begin to surface. At the center of this storm stands a name the world was never meant to hear again: Loki. A warrior whose rise fractures empires, whose blade freezes legends, and whose choices force even the unseen ruler of the world to break their silence. As gods falter, monsters descend, and forgotten oaths ignite once more, the final saga no longer feels distant. It has already begun, and nothing after this moment will ever be the same. Alright, before we dive any deeper and keep this anime storytelling journey alive together, make sure you subscribe, smash that like button, and share your thoughts in the comments so the hype doesn't die down. Now then, let's get right into the discussion. Let's roll. Chapter 1171, titled Thundersteel, Ragnar's Hammer, stands as one of the most crucial foundation chapters in the entire One Piece storyline. Not only does it fully showcase Loki's overwhelming power, but it also begins to peel back the curtain on Im's true identity, the deep connection between the Gorosei and the Holy Knights, and Elbaf's ancient role in the 800-year war against the Lost Kingdom. More importantly, this chapter doesn't just explain the present conflict, it quietly starts shaping the final direction of One Piece's endgame. The biggest spotlight, of course, falls on Loki and his legendary weapon Ragnar. As usual, Oda opens with a light-hearted cover page, Zoro sitting calmly while a cat perches on his head. The innocent visual sharply contrasts with the heavy secret-laden chapter that follows, a signature Oda move to soften the weight of massive revelations and remind readers that, even at its darkest, One Piece remains a warm and colorful adventure. The chapter opens with a shocking scene. Im is mentally unstable. After King Harold is slain by Loki, Im is completely shaken. Their breathing is uneven, sweat pours down, and their eyes are filled with raw panic. Although Im's form is still wrapped in shadow, it is painfully clear, something terrifying has just happened to them. For the first time ever, the being who stands above the world loses absolute composure. The figure once portrayed as untouchable finally shows that they can feel fear, pain, and weakness. This reaction goes far beyond losing a subordinate. Even when Im personally erased Saturn without hesitation, they never displayed emotions like this. This time, the mental collapse looks more like someone losing a part of their own body. And that detail unlocks the truth behind Im's real power. Harold's monstrous strength and near-immortal regeneration were not the result of training, technology, or his status as a holy knight. They came from a contract. Im possesses a mysterious power that allows them to divide their own strength among others through binding agreements, from the Deep Sea Pact to the Death Sea Pact. Anyone who signs these contracts gains power far beyond natural limits and a body that borders on immortality. But the price is absolute control. The Gorosei and Holy Knights are not independent beings. They are better understood as extensions of Im's existence, fragments of power torn from the core. Each fragment carries a portion of Im's will and authority. It's similar to Naruto sharing the Nine-Tails chakra during the Fourth Shinobi War. Everyone becomes stronger, but the true source and control remain with Naruto. In One Piece, Im plays that same role, likely through a devil fruit ability still unrevealed. This explains every long-standing mystery. Why they are nearly impossible to injure. Why they regenerate so quickly. Why Holy Knights are deployed so carefully. Every time Im distributes power, their true body weakens, and if a fragment is destroyed, the damage rebounds violently onto the core. When news of Harold's death reaches Mary Geos, the Gorosei suggest sending another Holy Knight to Elbaf. Im immediately refuses. They state that each Holy Knight's death carries an unbearable price, and they openly admit they fear the consequences. The implication is clear. Losing a Holy Knight is equivalent to Im dying once, not physically, but existentially. Oda planted this connection long ago. When the ancient robot released Joy Boy's Conqueror's Haki, the Gorosei suffered severe shock, and at the exact same moment, Im collapsed in Mary Geos, trembling and drenched in cold sweat. The center and the fragments are directly linked. Damage to one reflects back to the source. If a fragment dies, The effect is catastrophic. This is why Harold's death breaks him. Im believed Harold was unbeatable. Absolute power, perfect regeneration, battle experience rivaling legends. They even considered Harold more complete than Rox D. Zebek at God Valley. Yet Loki defeated him. This wasn't just losing a pawn. It shattered Im's faith in the entire Holy Knight system. If even the strongest can fall, sending another changes nothing. Gabon is stunned. In his entire life, he has never seen a Holy Knight die. Throughout history, even the Roger era never truly killed one, until this day. Jaren, Gabon, and Shanks are all left speechless by the power of the devil fruit Loki has just consumed. Only Loki could stop Harold, and only by wielding Elbaf's legendary devil fruit. That alone speaks volumes about how terrifying Loki's current power has become. And yet, Shamrock still boasts that even without chains, the outcome would be the same, as if Loki's strength were insignificant. Which makes the coming clash even more ominous. The story then shifts to Mary Geos. Overwhelmed by fear and rage, Im accidentally reveals a massive piece of hidden history. They declare that Elbaf will never be allowed to join the world government, because the Land of Giants is an ally of the D clan, the eternal enemy of the celestial dragons. This revelation completely reshapes everything. For centuries, Elbaf was known as a powerful but neutral nation. Im's confession exposes the truth. The Giants were deeply involved in the secret war of 800 years ago. Their so-called sin was never about rebellion or chaos. Their real crime was standing with the D clan. It is highly likely that Elbaf once fought alongside Joy Boy during the Void Century War. That explains why the world government has systematically excluded Elbaf from the modern world order ever since. Seen from this angle, the Giants' devotion to sun god Nika is no coincidence. It is the inheritance of ancient faith and the dream of freedom, a legacy carried forward from the era of Joy Boy himself. Back in the present, the full truth behind King Harold's death finally comes to light. The world government had manipulated the incident and turned Loki into a scapegoat. When everything is revealed, Hadrudin steps forward, publicly apologizes to Loki, and personally removes the sea stone chains that had bound his brother. This moment is far more than a rescue. It is a confession of guilt from every generation of Elbaf's leadership. In an instant, Loki's image is transformed. From traitor to the only giant who dared challenge the world for the sake of truth. That moment marks the true unity of the giant race. No more division. No more misunderstanding. Elbaf finally stands on one side, and that side is clearly not the world government's. The focus returns to the upper world. Gabon expresses deep concern for Cologne and insists on joining the others. Sanji carries him, freeing Chopper from remaining behind in the lower world. Everyone prepares to descend to the battlefield. But as Hadrudin's group, Luffy, and the warriors are about to board the ship Svan, a colossal being crashes down from the sky into the lower world. It is Drogur, a living skeleton, a nightmare straight from Norse legend. Drogur is not just a physical creature. It is the embodiment of vengeance, unrest, death, and forgotten warriors. Its arrival sends a clear message. The past has awakened, and it has not come in peace. In that moment of chaos, Loki steps forward and claims responsibility. He calmly states that he can fly, then asks Luffy and Hadrudin to continue their mission while he remains behind to handle Drogur and catch up later. This confirms the nature of Loki's legendary devil fruit. A winged beast with 4 legs and razor-sharp claws. In the end, only Zoro and Sanji accompany Hadrudin's group. Luffy stays. Facing the man who killed King Harold, Luffy's curiosity is unstoppable. He wants to witness, with his own eyes, how terrifying Loki's power truly is. A decision that perfectly reflects Luffy's character. Loki wastes no time. He summons his weapon. Ragnar, the Thunder Hammer. A massive axe radiating lightning and frost. Its mere presence distorts the air, as if the laws of nature themselves are being bent. Loki then unleashes a technique called Niflheim, meaning the 9 absolute colds, a name tied directly to the frozen realm of Norse mythology, a world of endless frost and silent death. In an instant, Drogur is completely frozen. Not only its body, even the dark aura bound to its existence is sealed. This proves Loki's attack does not merely destroy flesh. It reaches the soul and the core of existence itself. Loki never exaggerated. He truly possesses the means to confront beings that should be immortal. The Klingham monsters summoned by the trumpet are utterly meaningless before his absolute power. First came thunder. Now comes ice. And no one yet knows the true limit of Loki's strength. These details strongly suggest that Loki's abilities represent the 9 worlds of Norse mythology. Niflheim is only the beginning. If each technique embodies one realm, Loki may become the most symbolically rich and conceptually deep power system in One Piece history. Luffy's reaction says everything. Eyes wide. Face glowing with excitement. Pure joy at witnessing power beyond ordinary limits. And as always, Luffy speaks with absolute certainty. I've decided, you have to be my crew member. And that concludes the major events of Chapter 1171. Big thanks to everyone who stayed all the way to the end. If anything's on your mind or you've got questions, drop them in the comments below. Appreciate you for watching, and catch you in the next videos.